Alright, Game and Compute, what is up? What is up? I've been putting up a lot of posts today trying to get some stuff out of the way. Super Bowl Sunday, happy Super Bowl. I mean, I was born in Missouri, so I guess go Chiefs. They had a good game last year. But I don't know, I don't really have much of a dog in the fight. I'm ready to see a surprise halftime. I didn't even look up who's playing halftime, or performing halftime. So I'm excited to hopefully not get that spoiled and just tune in and get some cool performances. But I'm gonna try to watch the whole game. But until then, I'm trying to get done with some stuff that I've been kind of not able to put in my schedule for quite a few days now. There were some days I could have worked on some of this stuff, but I decided to kind of actually take my break days that I give myself, which are usually Wednesdays and Saturdays. I think I took, instead of Wednesday, I took Tuesday, and then I took Saturday, and I'm kind of behind. But anyways, as I kind of posted a little blurb about, you'll probably see it if you're on this podcast or other, if you're on X or on the blog. Well, maybe not on the blog. I think the blog is still wrong, or my LinkedIn or something. But I think I changed it just now on my LinkedIn. But the Game and Compute website, I am working on it. I wanted to explain what's going on. It's nothing terrible. It's just I'm kind of unfortunately a little caught up, and I apologize that if anybody's been trying to go to that site for the last few days. Unfortunately, it wasn't up for my own. It was kind of my own fault, but I have two bank accounts. Well, I guess I have technically more than that, but two bank accounts that I mostly use. I use my Venmo account just for day-to-day kind of purchases, and then I have a major bank branch that I bank with, and I kind of transfer money back and forth and stuff. And so usually my Venmo, I don't usually keep a lot of money on there, but I usually run most of my subscriptions through there, or another card. But for both of those, my major bank and my major bank card and my major and my Venmo card. I got new cards during the month of January, I think, because I saw a purchase on my bank statement for like 30 something bucks that I didn't recognize. So I called them. I even looked up the site, called the number. I couldn't figure out what the heck it was. I was like, I don't remember buying that, and I couldn't it was during a week where I remember I did not hardly spend any money, and I was like, I don't know what this would have even been. And so after a day of trying to not a whole day, but off and on trying to make sure that I wasn't overlooking something, I called the bank and they reversed that charge. But then they're like, well, we have to send you a new card. And then the same thing happened on Venmo, because I had purchased something through one of those Christmas ads of I think it was supposed to be Volcom, kind of a skate brand of clothing, and it was supposed to be some name brand clothing, but the website, I guess the ad kept coming up all the time, and it was super cheap. But then once I bought it, I realized, I'm like, wait, this isn't Volcom.com or Volcom's actual clothing website. Why would they have this weird URL? And it was super weird. But what I was supposed to be getting was a pair of jeans, I think a hoodie, and maybe some socks or something like that for 20 something dollars, just under $30, including the shipping. So I was like, that's really good. But I'm like, but that doesn't sound normal, and especially if it's not going through Volcom. And one of my friends pointed out, hey, I think this isn't accurate. And I saw it on Instagram, so I guess I didn't think that Instagram was promoting scams. But I was like, well, let me see if I even get it, because there was no customer service on their website. I tried to contact, I guess maybe 2 days after I had made the purchase, I had tried to contact that email that kind of gave me the confirmation number, they didn't have like a, it was like a no reply kind of thing, and then there was no way to contact them. There was no working customer service link. There was no working phone number. So I was like, I got scammed. But I was like, well, let me just wait it out because I can't contact anybody anyways. And I do have this tracking number. So when I looked up the tracking number, it was this whole site in Chinese. All the tracking information was all in Chinese with the exception of some like digits and like numerical stuff and like a couple maybe letters that were like not in some kind of Chinese script. And so I kind of I don't know what Chinese language it was. I can't tell the difference in all honesty. I just know it was not English. It wasn't Korean or Japanese or any other. It was some Chinese language, and I don't know if it was Mandarin or Cantonese or like what. I don't know. I can't tell the difference, to be honest. I'm not skilled in Chinese at all. I think I know some Japanese kanji for like I guess water, middle, book, yen. Like I know like the kanji for certain things like that, but I don't know really. I don't really know. Like I know there's some overlap with like kanji and like some Chinese letters, or words or terms, but I don't really know. When I look at it all just written out, I could not tell you what it said or anything. But it just had like information with like timestamps. So I looked at that once I got it, like a couple days after I got my confirmation number, and then a couple days later I noticed, okay, it's updating. And then it was supposed to arrive, I think, fast, but it didn't. And then I kept checking, and because I was like, I want to follow through to see if it even gets here. So I maybe tried to give it like 30 days or something, because that's like typical for China. I don't remember how long I waited on this, but I was like, I want to see if I even get something, and if it fits, even if it's cheap quality or like not Volcom, I'm like, well, I only paid like less than $30, so I'm willing to take, as long as it fits, I'd be willing to kind of take whatever it was, maybe, because I was like, I could use some new jeans and a hoodie, like, for a price that's like pretty cheap. And even if I don't know if it would have had like fake tags and stuff, but either way, like it basically, long story short, it never came. Even when it said it was delivered, it never came. So I was like, okay, I waited a couple days. It still never arrived at all. And it said, let's say it said it arrived on like the 5th of 1 month. It would have been like the 5th of January, and it didn't arrive. And by the 7th, I was like, well, where is it? So I didn't get anything at all, except for my money taken and wasted time and a little bit of wasted energy. So I called Venmo right away. Their customer service was really helpful, and I kind of explained the whole thing, because I was like, I wanted to follow through with the whole process, so they weren't going to tell me, oh, just wait to see if it comes, wait to see if it's the right thing, like, wait to see, like, they weren't going to give me, like, the runaround of, like, what, I'm like, well, I followed through the whole process. Even when I tried to contact them, they don't have, like, contact that actually works. They have a link to contact them, but when you click it, it doesn't go anywhere, so it's like, you can't contact them. You can't reply to the ad. It was like comments turned off, and then there were some one comment, because it was posted like almost every day, multiple times. I kept seeing it come up, and it was one of those ads on Instagram where it didn't have like any person, you could see the information of the person, of like maybe one comment, or two comments, and somebody else was like, it's a scam. I remember seeing that once during the time when the shipping information was being updated, but mostly the comments were turned off, which is also a red flag. So basically, I never got the item. I paid the money. There was no way to get a refund. There was no way to contact them. So I contacted Venmo to reverse the process. But then, they approved it. They reversed and refunded my money. But the issue was they then, had to send me a new card. And my gamingcompute.com website through GoDaddy, the payments get processed automatically through that Venmo account. and the card is different, and I didn't update it on their end, and I guess they charged me or tried to charge me in like, I don't know if it was like January, um, and I just wasn't like, I have a lot of stuff that sometimes it's connected, and I just wasn't paying attention. And then I also, okay, so that's kind of like the logistics behind why it kind of fell through. I just wasn't checking. But then I also was like, well, let me keep it open because I don't really want it anymore because I'm paying like $16.99 a month, and then they raised it in 2025, so that now they want to charge $21.99 a month. And I'm like, I've had this site open for a bit now. I'm not getting anything out of paying that monthly fee. There's nothing that I'm getting out of it. Like, they have some kind of SEO features, some marketing features, but I feel like they're not strong features to a point where they're actually like driving enough traffic to the website, and I'm updating the website anyways. So basically what I have up now is Game and Compute 9 .godaddysites.com. I think that's the temporary free domain that I'm using through GoDaddy, because you can't use the .com domain purchased through GoDaddy without paying for their hosting. And $21.99 for hosting is a lot. They do have features that are, I want to talk a little bit about it, but I'm like, they do have features that are supposed to help you with SEO. You're supposed to be able to link your social media accounts. It's a little clumsy, I'll be honest. I find it to be a little clumsy. It's not, it did drive organic traffic, but I also can't check and see if the traffic is coming from the SEO side of this GoDaddy system, this GoDaddy SEO marketing kind of system, or if it's coming through the podcast, or if it's coming through the YouTube, or if it's coming through Twitter, or if it's coming through the blog. I can't tell, or if it's coming through LinkedIn. I don't know where it's coming from. There's no way to really adequately check analytics. You don't have a lot of like powerful analytic tools, and that's not helpful. Like, if you can't really track analytics, you're kind of like blindly guessing. Now, did it drive traffic? I mean, there is traffic to that main.com, but I basically use that for either communication with customers who need some kind of help, or mostly just to promote the links to like all this kind of like the podcast mostly, and like if I put up blog posts and things like that, so that people have access to looking at the different stuff all in one place. But gamingcompute.com is still going to be around. Just if you click it right now, as of February 5th, it's been down. I didn't learn that until February 6th. But also, it's not like I check all the time because it's been like a reoccurring fee. But I just never renewed. I'm just not going to renew it with GoDaddy. I feel like they're increasing the fees, by about by about $5 a month. $16.99 is already quite a bit for almost nothing, and then $21.99 is even more for the same amount of nothing. Like, they're not really giving you anything more for that extra price. It's not like they put in some fancy bells and whistles or any kind of like cool features. I've talked about it before with GoDaddy, kind of what I think, like my opinions of it. I guess I do like that they have that marketing feature built in. That was kind of like the appeal to me, but I really don't think there's a way, like, you probably have to use like what do you call it, like Google Analytics or something to kind of more adequately track, because you're not really tracking in detail the other platforms that are driving traffic. I'm not a fan of GoDaddy's hosting being that expensive, so the plan was to migrate everything onto 000 web host, which is what I used to use, but then when I went on there this morning, I found out that as of October of last year, October of 2024, 000 web hosting is down, and now they're going through Hostinger, and Hostinger is no longer free, and 000 web host was the free hosting. And so I've been looking into free hosting. Free hosting now is not usually ideal, but also when you think about, you can still get free hosting and have like a store online or some kind of method of kind of getting your needs met without having to really pay like an arm and a leg for something that I don't feel like it's worth the price. And I don't really know anybody who really uses GoDaddy. People use Squarespace or Wix or, you know, like Shopify and stuff like that. But GoDaddy's not really, or WordPress, of course. But like, yeah, I don't feel like GoDaddy's all that popular of a platform to use for hosting. I just wanted to try it because it was just like internal, and it was like, okay, like I'm already here. I already have the domain name, so through GoDaddy, so I might as well use it. But I'm kind of curious to use some other sites, and just see what I think. Worst comes to worst, if I hate it, I'll go back to GoDaddy.com. I'll go back to GoDaddy's hosting. But for now, I don't really see myself using it, just because it's too much money. I'm not using it in a way where it's like really giving me a lot of what I want. It kind of basically tells me every 30 days how much traffic has increased, so it shows that there's increases, but it doesn't really give you details of where the traffic is coming from. And so I guess one way around that, you can kind of use what's it called, Uber Suggest or something like that, to kind of determine maybe what's going on with your site. But I don't know, like I think it's kind of a lot for a little. Like I feel like there are definitely way cheaper ways to host, and there are other more powerful platforms. If I am going to be paying that much money, I'd rather have more data to work with, because I feel like it's not that strong. Like I don't even like giving Spotify a lot of props. A lot of times I'm kind of not into giving them a lot of props, because I get so frustrated with Spotify for podcasters, or Spotify for creators, or whatever it is. You know, I get so frustrated with it. I don't usually want to give them a lot of props, but I feel like they have more like powerful analytics than GoDaddy. I mean, that's kind of saying a lot, but they still aren't all that good. Yeah, so I'm in the process of kind of moving things over. So if you go to gameandcompute.com, there's not going to be anything there for a while. There hasn't been for a few days. I'm seeing if I can figure it out before the Super Bowl starts. If I might be able to, I might not be able to, but we'll see. But the free site is probably going to stay up anyways. They took down my other free one, the one that doesn't have the number 9 in it. I can't use that old one either, so they took that one down when there was a lapse. And yeah, sorry that I let it lapse though. Like that's not, like, as much as I slack on other things, that's usually not something that I would slack on, but the timing of everything just kind of caught me. But for now, I'm not going to be paying for GoDaddy's $21.99 a month. I don't know why I would. I'm just using it to just have the website up. I'm not even really tracking analytics like on a regular basis on there anyways, and I don't really use their social media marketing features anyways. Like, it was a little difficult to try to set some stuff up, and then it wasn't like connecting, and I was just like, this is just too much. Like, I don't know, maybe other people have better experiences with it, but even when I tried to go through tutorials online, there weren't a lot, there wasn't really a lot of support on that. Even on GoDaddy's website, it really wasn't helpful. I would say that's a niche that is kind of untapped right now for people who are looking for maybe like a niche. I think if you do use GoDaddy hosting and you want to like play with it and start a project and kind of like figure out analytics and stuff like that, like the marketing details of things, like a lot of people are really trying to get like different advice for marketing products or services and shops and things. It's always good to have something that has a good rate to it, but I think they do have a basic deal that's like $9.99 or something. But I think it doesn't have all the marketing tools. And $9.99 a month for hosting, I mean, it's honestly still a lot. If you don't have any tools, like why are you paying that much money? You can get something for like a buck, a couple cents. You know, like maybe they don't hold as much space or they don't have like cool graphics, but also you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think GoDaddy's hosting, the panel doesn't allow you to go into the back end. You can't edit HTML or CSS. You have to use their kind of click methods, and I don't really like that. I like to be able to kind of play with a lot of the details and tailor things exactly to how I want them to look. They don't have that available, at least not, they may have it available and I just never saw it, but I don't think it's available. You have to like make menus the way they want you to make menus within a certain amount of limits, and like certain things you can't have more characters. That was another thing I ran into, like certain posts or certain like sections, you could put different sections. Like it's really easy to use. It looks very beautiful and very nice. It's very like nice and simplistic, but if you really want like a lot of your own like details, I would say, you know, that's not going to be for you. It's not for me, and it might not be for you either. So I don't really. I'm going to try to see what's maybe the best fit for me as far as gaming compute, as far as like migrating over to like a different hosting platform. Um, I thought I knew where I was going. Like last night, I thought about it, and I was like, okay, I know what I'm going to do in the morning. And then I woke up and I was like, oh, I didn't know 000 web host didn't exist anymore. And so, well, not in the way that it did. You have to use it through Hostinger, and then they say that there are a lot of other sites that are free. But then when you look at them, like they're 30 days free trials, they're not free like for eternity. So I don't want to pay right now. I want to test something out for free and see kind of where I can get with it and see if it's powerful enough. And I'd rather have more options to edit the way that I want to edit my website and like build the site exactly how I want versus using all this drop and click and point and drag kind of, yeah, point and click and drop and drag, you know what I mean? Like, sorry, it's loud. Traffic's picking up. It's Sunday, Super Bowl, everybody's out shopping. It is nice and sunny today in LA. I'm just sitting outside. I'm like, let me sit outside, put up some recordings, I had a little snack between the earlier podcasting and right now I'm just kind of outside getting my sunshine for the day. So I wanted to talk to you guys and update you guys on what I'm up to so that you don't think I mean, I have been kind of slacking, but I don't want you guys to think that I don't recognize that, you know, there are some things kind of missing right now. But, drinking my ginger tea, just kind of relaxing, taking a little break here. I got up early, didn't sleep well. I haven't been sleeping too well past couple nights. But I'm trying to put some work in this morning, so I've been this morning fumbling around with what I can with GoDaddy, at least to get the temporary site up. So the GoDaddy's temporary domain site is up, and all the links for at least the majority of stuff you'd probably be clicking on. I feel like people aren't really going on that website too much from the podcast anyways, but if you were using it to kind of get to the other links and stuff, like, you should be able to find them now. And sorry there's been like a 4 or 5 day lapse, you know, because I'm like once I noticed it, I was like, I really don't have time to like throw this into my schedule too. And I had forgotten that you could do that temporary thing, and I was like, I don't want to even put in $21.99 a month for something that I don't really want to use. So it was kind of my own decision to kind of, it could have lapsed just one day, but it was kind of my own decision to let it lapse until I had time to kind of get something temporary up. But hopefully it didn't, mess anything up so far. That's mostly what I would hope, is that nobody was like relying on that domain. I hope. But if you were, my apologies. I'm sorry that I was slow on it. I really couldn't cram it into my schedule without either having to shuffle something else around that I couldn't really shuffle around, because it's been slow after the fires and stuff, like, and not being able to get out as much during the fires, and then having the car in the shop for like, I didn't have a car for like 10 days. Like, right once I was like comfortable being able to get out with like the air quality and stuff, I didn't have a car for 10 days, and then I had to like make up for lost time basically. So I was like, there's a lot of stuff that's kind of, I'm still kind of shuffling around to try to catch up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't wanna. I'll post again once I figure it out. I'll be figuring something out. It's also maybe going to be temporary, but I'll get the .com back up and running on some other hosting site, and I'll play with it for a while, see how I feel, and hopefully it'll be solid from there. We'll see. But it seems like about every year, just about in February, it's kind of like, let's reevaluate a little bit. Because I remember last year I was kind of doing the same thing around this time of year. It was like, yeah, around this time of year. Because I went back through my post because I was trying to find the link, but I guess I had deleted that episode. So, but that temporary link should stay up now. It should be up all the time. I'm not gonna take it down. I just need to park gamingcompute.com somewhere else. So I'm gonna be working on that, and then I'll keep this temporary one up. So if the site ever goes down, this temporary one should be up. But I don't know. GoDaddy's not really for me as far as like the hosting. I kind of want something with a lot more ability to kind of edit the way that I want to edit. Like, I'm not like the most skilled with HTML and CSS and stuff like that, but I know enough to kind of know how to use it to kind of get where I'm trying to go, or at least find a reference to figure it out most of the time. And I used to use Blogger. Blogger used to have, or Blogspot or whatever, it used to have a static website option, and I used to use Blogger as a static website, and I actually did like it because you could go in with those features and like edit the HTML and CSS. But I don't know if you can do that on Blogger anymore. And I don't know if I can park a domain on Blogger and have a static site. But I do like Blogger, so I might check them out. Again, I just don't know if they have free hosting. I remember I have connected domains to Blogger in the past. But I kind of don't want necessarily a blog, and I necessarily, or WordPress, but WordPress is the same thing. You still have to get the hosting. But WordPress, I think there's a difference. There's WordPress.com and WordPress.org. I think WordPress.org is the free one, but it's a little weird to try to set up things on there with like the name servers and all that. Like, it was complicated, and the video that I have goes through the 000 web host setup, and it has like the cPanel. It was from this guy named what was his name? I just literally was looking at his video this morning. Let me see if I have it in my in my history on YouTube on my phone. Man, I don't see it. I don't see it. Maybe, let's see. History view all. I don't know. It was, Incredigy. INCREDIGUY. He had a website. It had a tutorial. This is like probably 15 years ago now. It was one of the first ones I looked at. It says website tutorial, how to attach your own domain name. But this was for a GoDaddy domain attached to 000 web host, and he kind of went through how to set it up. I think he has other videos. I don't remember. I mean, 15 years is a long time to try to remember something. But he was one of the first people that I kind of figured out how to use stuff with. It's just, it's a little difficult lately that everything costs money. I'm not opposed to paying money for stuff, but it's like, I've talked about it before, with finances, I like to maybe not pay for every single thing if there are free versions that kind of just get the job done. Like, I understand, when I'm paying for certain stuff, I want those features for that reason. I think it does work out very well for a lot of people to be able to pay for all of these, like, drag and drop, point and click, kind of like more simplistic websites. I understand that. A lot of people don't want to be building stuff in the back end and like doing all that. They're like, I just want to upload a picture and just type in something and just put up some tabs, and I want that to be it. But it's like, for me, I'm like, that is not, like, I don't know. I had such a hard time setting up gamingcompute.com with GoDaddy's hosting and marketing features and all that. There were things I liked about it. Like I said, it looked really nice. To me, it looked really nice. I liked the way it looked. I wasn't upset with the visual aspect. I just was upset with how limited the editing features were, how it limited your wording. Like, certain things, if you wanted to put like a description, it would like say you could only put like however many characters, say it's like 40 characters or something. You couldn't like change the font sizes in certain areas to what you wanted, or the font, the type of font. You couldn't put, like, you could basically make like different sections, but you couldn't make the sections you wanted maybe like two side by side next to each other, or like it just wasn't flexible enough for me. Like, I kind of wanted it to look different, but I did have it set in a way that it finally looked at least basically how I wanted. But I also didn't like the blog feature. I would have wished for something different with the blog feature, but I don't want to turn people away from it completely, because it might appeal to some people. It might actually be good for some people. So for someone who's new, for someone who does need like marketing tools built in, it does have all of that. So I wouldn't fully knock it, because I'm thinking, if I'm changing to one of these other free hosting sites, there's not going to really be any. I'm going to have to do all the marketing. There's not going to be anything built in, really, unless I find some other way to connect it somewhere else. And trying to do anything for free these days, like even the stuff that used to be free, a lot of it's not free. So those days are kind of gone. There is free stuff out there, but it's like a lot of it's trials, or a lot of it's like so limited with the free version that it's almost like not even worth using the free one. So I kind of don't want to use something that's not what I want. I'm willing to pay for something if it's more closely similar to what I want. I'm a little picky with this kind of stuff, as you can tell. It doesn't really even matter. I mean, no, it's like, I don't think it's going to change any any other thing as far as like either getting more customers when I'm in the when I have the ability to take new ones, or it's not going to change like the traffic, the organic traffic that comes through. I don't think it's going to change any of that for me to a point where I'm going to be like, oh, like GoDaddy really had it going on, like, like. But I am old school, man. I'm 41 years old. I like the old stuff. I like the old, like, let me do it myself. You know, I don't like when I look at other people's websites and I'm like, this looks like mine, or like, like not like that, but it's just like I like it to be more unique. I want more uniqueness to it, more ability to learn and play and like edit stuff and but I really don't want to learn a new platform either. That I was really depending on just setting up through 000 web hosts, so it might take a little longer because that I could have just done today, and like it might have taken like a couple hours. It might have taken me like a slow hour to set it up because I was pretty sure it was going to be what do you call it? It might have taken me an hour to set it up because I was pretty sure it was going to be some of the user interface of that platform was going to change because I haven't been on there for like a really long time, but I used to use it a lot. And Hostinger as well. I've also used Bluehost for a robotics project for like a high school robotics team. I kind of helped them out. This is like way back in the day, and so I don't really know. Like I've used all kinds of things, but I don't want to jump the gun and just choose something because I want things up and running. I would love to have it up and running today, but with this game day situation and just the fact that I've been podcasting all morning for almost like 3 hours now, and because I've got other podcast posts to put up that I already did, and I don't even think this is going to be my last recording of the day. I kind of need to plan out my week. I want to, get my budgeting done because it's Sunday. Sunday's budgeting day. I budget more than Sundays, but Sunday's like the solid day that I'm like, if I don't have it together during the week on any other day, I try to make for sure I'm doing it on Sunday. And I've got a budget journal, so I need to write in that. And other kind of stuff I need to kind of get to for some other marketing projects and stuff. I've got a lot of stuff I need to kind of do that I need to plan out. I started something last night. I don't want to talk about it right now, but basically, because I'll get way off topic. But I've got some other projects in the works. I'm still trying to, deal with like eBay and online sales. I hope you guys like those episodes I posted though. I posted some new ones. Sorry, I like I said, I've been slow. Like on February 1st, I recorded some stuff about some updates, some good news, but I still want to tweak some of that to see if I can improve sales. So I'm actually in the process of trying to get another phone number, because you know how when you set up with eBay, you have to use a phone number, but I've kind of maxed out this phone number that I use, and you can't use like Google numbers and stuff, and so I want to get a new phone number so that I can set up some accounts and see if there's some kind of algorithm that's kind of like, or some automated part of a system that's like not really. I just want to play with the idea to see if I set up a new store with the same products off a new number and maybe not even connected to my same IP address, if I can kind of trick the system a little bit. I'm a little bit curious to see if I can do that, and if it would work. It would be worth my time to try it just to see, but I'm like, I'd rather put the few dollars into a new phone number than into GoDaddy. So that's kind of where my head is right now. It's like, let me just shift the use of that money into something else. But I don't know, like I just feel kind of like I'm in this brainstorm process where it's like I don't want to spend too long, but I also don't want to keep like popping around to different stuff. I want something to be solid because I like learning platforms. So I might either go back to one of the previous platforms I've used and just dish out the money and pay and just use a platform that I actually like, or I might try another platform and try to use a new platform, which would mean learning a new platform. But I know what I'm looking for. I'm basically looking for analytics. I'm looking for flexibility with like building my site and being able to like have a site where I can have the podcast as a tab, and a site for I can have like the what do you call it, portfolio as a tab, and I can have a blog, and I can have like a store, and I'm not going to get banned for trying to sell certain stuff. I mean, I'm not going to try to sell anything like crazy, but it's like I don't want to be hindered. Like, I feel like there's always, every site, every platform has like its cost and benefits, and it shifts and changes so much that it's like it sometimes takes a bit of like being in there. Like, I'm not gonna watch like 80 tutorials just to figure out. I'd rather just jump in and then just be like, oh, it doesn't have that feature, oh shoot, and then see if I can get it, connected. Like some of these other sites, like I said, like GoDaddy, Shopify, they are pretty cool because they do, like, I like how Shopify has built-in apps that you can just connect, but also some of those apps go down. Sometimes they're free and then they're not free, and now you have to pay a subscription to use the same thing, or like the apps no longer work and you think you have a store that's like working a certain way and then it's not. So it's like there are things that, like I said, they're changing so fast that like the online world, like you really have to be pretty diligent and checking stuff, and it takes a lot of time. A lot of these things are done by teams, so when you're a solo player like me and you're like, you don't really have like a full team working on stuff, it gets to be a little bit challenging because it's like, this isn't my full-time job. I don't do this as like a full-time job. I've used periods of time where parts of this are work and money for me, but it's not always that way. It changes. Like, I'll use it and build it up as needed, but sometimes I'm like, I don't really want to do freelance projects for a while, so I'll sleep on it for a bit and like not really try to get customers and not take new ones, and then other times I'll have them, and then other times I might just be doing volunteer work and not even getting paid, and like doing a solid for a friend who's like, hey, I really need this or that. I might just be doing that instead. So I don't know, I don't really want to limit myself. I feel like I know what I want, but I also feel like I want to go back to my old school methods. Like, to me, I was happier with the old school stuff. I was happier with like static websites off of Blogger, where you could just put tabs on Blogger, and people could link to your other stuff through Blogger or Blogspot or whatever. I don't even know what it is. These things, everything's got like a different name now, but like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, I hope you know what I mean. I know I'm rambling, but it's like, I just like to talk about this kind of stuff because this is how I think. I'm like, what do I really want? I know what I want. I want strong analytics tracking. I want ability to edit. I could do without some of this point and click stuff, and the beauty of a website being like so polished looking. I don't want it to be like crappy looking, but like I'd rather have something that looks a little less upscale if I have the ability to change it at will and when I feel like it, and I don't have to pay a lot of money to not be able to do what I want to do. Yeah, GoDaddy's blog was like weird. Like, it would make, I guess what I didn't like was the amount of scrolling you'd have to do on GoDaddy. Like, the more you wanted to add things on GoDaddy, you'd build your site downward. And so, people could read the front. So if it's a landing page, they could read the top part, but then they'd have to scroll to the next part and scroll to the next part and scroll to the next part. And you could keep adding sections. And I didn't like how their blog was one of the sections, because it's like, well, maybe I don't want my blog in the middle of my static page. Like, I don't want that, or, like I said, with like the word count with things, or the character counts, and like I couldn't put the fonts I wanted, or like make something bold, or make it a different color the way I wanted to. But I did like a lot about it. Like, I didn't hate it, or else I wouldn't have kept it for so long. But I felt like it wasn't fun enough, and there weren't enough tutorials out there on how to actually set it up. Um, there weren't enough tutorials out there. So if somebody else, I mean, if you're looking for a niche, I don't know if it would even be worth the time, but at least a project, that would be a cool project if you want to pay either the basic or the $21.99 a month, or like you might be able to get a free trial if you've never done it before, if you've never used it before. And so I would recommend doing that. I don't know if it would get you anywhere, but I had those questions, and I know a lot of people probably use that platform for their websites. It's maybe not like Wix or Squarespace where everybody's talking about it all the time, but I mean, if you buy your domain name, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, you can just set up a website with us here with our website builder. Why wouldn't you do it? And it is easy and simple to use, and it does have marketing features, and a lot of people, that's the next step. Once they get their website, they're like, oh, I want to market. I want to learn how to market. But it's like, I don't think I also didn't fully take the time to like learn all the stuff. I did click around and play around with it, but then after a while I was like, this isn't really doing what I want. It was like, oh, connect your Facebook, but it's like it wasn't going the way I wanted. Connect your Instagram or whatever, and it was like I wasn't really so into it. But I mean, there were things I liked about it, but I'm basically trying to explain the process of like why I'm kind of like not moving so fast on this, because I do know what I want. I haven't had to like build a new website in quite a bit now, and so I don't really know exactly which platform has all the features I'm searching for. So I'm gonna have to figure that out. I'm excited to figure it out. I just wasn't expecting to spend my energy like this morning or this afternoon. So I'm about to do it, but it just might take me a while. So for now, my static page is not gonna have, my landing page isn't gonna have like too much going on. Because I'm not gonna probably edit it more than what it is already. Because it's like, it's already not the domain that I paid for, and now it's a new domain and it's not the same. I put it similarly to the old design ish, so that like when people click on it, it's recognizable. And I kind of put the information that I'm migrating off of that platform, and it's gonna, temporarily, that site's gonna be up, and I'll keep it up as long as I can. As long as GoDaddy allows me to keep it up, I'll just keep it up. But the old one without the number 9, they didn't let me keep that one up because of the lapse and everything. And so I just had to start everything from scratch. And luckily, it was pretty simple. I just put some tabs up top on the landing page and just linked to like the podcast, the blog, the Twitter account, and YouTube, I guess. But yeah, I don't have my portfolio up there. I don't have any of that other work kind of like up there. Not right now, I don't. I'm tired. Even just talking about this is like drained my energy. But I'm probably gonna get some lunch, make some lunch. I'll just like cook something real quick in a few minutes, and then see what I can get done before 3:30 p.m. I got about 2.5 hours to work and eat, so I'm gonna do that. I hope I just want to say that I just hope this isn't like interfering with anybody else who might actually go on that site, because it has been down for like 4 or 5 days. And to my knowledge, it has been down. I just was like, I just have to leave it like this, like, because I couldn't even put up the podcast, even from last Saturday, from the 1st. I couldn't even put up that. I recorded that day, but I didn't even put up that podcast episode until today on the 9th. And so I'm a little bit backlogged with a lot of stuff. I'm trying to kind of get a lot of stuff done, and I only have time for doing it in bits and pieces because I'm trying to make up for some lost time. You know, I wasn't even like in the fires. Like I've probably said before, I'm about 18 miles out from the area, and just how much the air quality sucked and having to stay at home for so long, it's really put me behind. And then also not having a car for 10 days when I would have been able to like drive around and handle some stuff, you know. That's the reality of it, and I don't want to like push myself for things that aren't necessarily. I'm like it was more worth it for me to kind of let it lapse for 4 or 5 days than it would have been for me to kind of like, bust my hump and try to prioritize that. It just wasn't a priority. I had to prioritize other stuff, and that's just the reality of it. But I'm excited for this game. I know it'll sound excited. I'm just kind of matter of fact, kind of talking. I'm kind of brainstorming while I'm talking, and as I'm talking, it helps me kind of realize, okay, like this is kind of going to be more than what I thought it was. I thought it was just going to like throw up a quick little thing today in like 1 to 2 hours, but I'm like, I actually want it to be something that I can be proud of. I was pretty proud of the GoDaddy site, but I want it to be something that like, if I'm sending people to this site, I don't want it to look like trash. Even if it's not gonna, even if it might not be perfect with my skills, with my HTML and CSS skills. But I am kind of interested in getting back into it for a little while, and I want to take it old school, guys. I'm sick of the AI automation stuff. It's getting on my nerves. I want to think for myself and learn, and like, at least review skills and stuff. I don't want to lose all the stuff that all the effort that I've put into learning stuff over these past decades. I want to be able to still use those skills and see if I still have them and see what's different now. I do like that things have changed, that things are different, that things are like upgraded, and the technology is like fascinating now compared to what it was. But it's like, I'm almost like, I've talked about before, like the degree I got in my master's program was kind of more research based and social sciences, and we use like SPSS or like Excel and other like statistical programs and things like that. And there were some classes where we had to learn these like extensive calculations by hand, or at least the theory behind them. And some people were like, why are we learning this? Or like you learn like the programming language to like run these versus just like clicking the buttons, right? So we learned like basically 3 ways. We learned on the computer programs, well, maybe 4 ways. We learned just with the spreadsheets on Excel. We learned with the actual the statistical packages. With those packages, we learned the programming aspect, and we learned the kind of like point and click methods, and then we learned hand calculations. Now, some things they got advanced to the point that we really couldn't be using those calculations, because if you're doing like, it just depends. Like you might be doing something but it would take so many sheets of paper just to do like in ANOVA or something. You'd be just like writing all, or like a 2-factor or 3-factor or whatever, and it's like I remember just getting just blank like printer paper and just writing out all these calculations, and like there's something it does to your brain that like helps you kind of like think. And I feel like I don't think as well when I'm just pointing and clicking and dragging stuff all over the place. Like when I'm in the back end of something and I'm thinking through the order of what I need to put in there, my brain is thinking differently than when I'm just, somebody gives me, okay, here's the 5 options of colors for the banner. Do you want green or red or white or blue? And you just click one. It's like, well, maybe I want it to be a gradient. Maybe I want something else, but I wouldn't have really thought that because it wouldn't have said that, or if I want it and then it's not an option, so things like that. I'd rather just know the details of like what I can type out myself, old school method, and edit. Now I don't want to fully do it from like the way back in the day hello world kind of like method of like, I want to build this from scratch. I don't want to build it from scratch. I want some form of templates, but I want a template that I can edit, and I want to be able to, make it a whole lot more unique, and tailored towards what I actually want it to look like, and not just be told that these are my options. Sorry, you can't put that. This is your word count. Sorry, that can't be bold. You can't highlight those terms. Like you can't use that. Sorry, you can only build downwards, and no, you can't take the date off of your blog post. I hate it when blog posts. Sometimes I hate it when they have dates on them, because it kind of, some things don't look as good when it has a date. Sometimes I don't want a date, because then it shows, hey, I haven't posted for like a year and a half. It's like, that's one of the first things people look at. They go on your blog and they're like, oh, you haven't even posted anything. So I don't really like that either. But it's like, I don't know, guys. Like, I kind of want to get back to some of this old school stuff. I have been missing it. I just don't want to overwhelm myself. I don't want to just be on the computer all day, just like, building in the back end, I want something that has like a variety of methods of like integrating both types of methods. I don't want fully one or fully the other, but I don't know. I'm gonna see what's out there. I'm gonna have to see what I like, and I'm just gonna go from there, because I don't really even know what my options are right now. I did a basic search, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about the process of which hosting I might use or might not use. A lot of them, it seems like, even when they say they're free, they're not free. They're like 30 days free, and then you gotta pay. And I pay how much? I don't know. They're probably gonna try to upsell you all the time. So even when they say a solid price, I never really trust it, because it's always something else. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I'm gonna eat lunch. I've got my energy is like tanking. I'm gonna eat lunch, have a little coffee. I probably need to stay away from the coffee, but it's the weekend. It'll be my second coffee of the weekend. Not the second of today, but the second since either Friday or Saturday. I don't remember which day, but I'll have a little coffee, and then I'm gonna kind of enjoy the rest of my afternoon, watching this game and relaxing and like having some fun with that. If the Eagles win, then the Eagles win. If the Chiefs win, the Chiefs win. Let's see. We won't know for a few hours now, but I'm glad I got some sunlight. I'm glad I kind of got all this off my chest. I'm gonna be grinding on some of this stuff. That's kind of what I'm doing this afternoon. I'm kind of stalling a little bit too, but because I'm tired. But I'm gonna drink some coffee and just power up and like get to it. I think I mentioned too, I've been watching some more Eli the Computer Guy videos. He's got some cool stuff with like programming and some AI related stuff too for people who want that. I'm not knocking AI, I'm not knocking automation and like algorithms and all that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, like, I'm a little fed up with like relying on it so heavily to the point where I think it's like destroying my creative mind, because I spend so much time trying to like just like pound out like content, but it's like I'm not really learning. I don't feel like I've learned a lot. Mostly what I've learned is like stumbling through like updates to platforms, and then when it updates, I'm kind of like, let me see, how do I click this or that, or like what's here and what's there and why doesn't it work, and like then I'll try to record about it for other people, because I'm like, look, at least if I tried to figure it out, or I'll just vent about it and complain and moan about what needs to be changed. Like how on Spotify for creators, when you're using the app, for some reason in the description, the title is actually like a smaller font than the body. I think the font sizes are reversed. I think because if you start typing the title, it's a tiny font, and then if you go down a couple. Uh, if you press enter one or two times, it'll take you to this next. Yeah, if you hit enter one or two times, it takes you to this. It takes you to like the body, and then your font is bigger. So I don't know if that's a mistake or if it's supposed to be like that, but it's really annoying because I'd rather have bigger font size for my title than for my body in the description. But like, I guess what I'm saying is in the description, that's where it is. The title is bigger because there's a box for the title. There's a text box for the title, but the text box for the description, the first lines are always going to be way smaller font, and then the next lines after that are bigger font. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be. I think when you're typing on the desktop version, you don't have that problem, and so I don't know what it is. I have no idea. But it's annoying to me because I don't like it. But just things like that, I'm just like, I'm a little, maybe a little grumpy. I'm a little like irritated with some of this stuff. But there is a lot that's going right as well. I don't want to make it sound like something that is not. But you guys will be hearing from me. I did post some stuff. Hopefully you guys get the rest of the content, and if I get back with some of this eBay update stuff or some of this website update stuff for the landing page or any other kind of projects, you guys will know about them. There's one project I'm kind of not talking about right now, but because I don't even know if I can talk about it, but I'm gonna try. It's too new for me to really have a lot of data to work with, and I've kind of been spending a lot of energy in other places. So let me get on with this. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate your patience on this, and sorry for any inconvenience, but as always, thanks for listening.